All right, welcome to the week 4 of the Coaches Show. As always, I'll thank head coach Brent Hoelting here for sitting down with me. And this week we're also sitting down with his defensive coordinator, AJ Brown. Thanks for coming in, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. So big win last week over Hesston, 35-7.
36.
36?
36-7.
We're starting off on the wrong foot here.
36.
36-7. I don't want to take away that extra point
That's right.
from you.
We go for 2.
That's right. So it moves us to 3-0, facing a 2-1 Larned this week at home at Zerger. Always good to be back at Zerger after a 2-week break. What did that kind of tell us? We talked last week kind of if we got the win over Hesston, where, that might be a good gauge. And you didn't want to look much past that with your 1 week at a time mentality. But now that we do have that win, what, where do you think that puts us? Or how do you gauge the season so far being 3-0?
Obviously 3-0 is better than any alternative. I think we found out some things that we could work on. Hesston did some things, I think, especially defensively, that were different for our kids. They stemmed a lot. They moved. They slanted. Did some switch blitzes and stuff like that, which was good for us to see. And then I thought defensively, I really think we're coming along. I thought our defensive backs played just an absolutely fantastic game. I thought we were able to get some pressure and tackle in open space with their athleticism, which was scary. We talked about that before the game last week. But I think we're making strides. I think we're getting better every week. We know the toughest part of our schedule is still coming up. But I'm pleased with where we're at right now.
Yeah, and speaking on the defense in that passing game, getting to you, AJ, being the defensive coordinator, back up a little bit. And so your history kind of with Pratt, you've been here 6 years.
Yes, sir.
Came on staff with Coach Hoelting once he took over. You were at the middle school level before that, and now you're varsity level.
Yeah, I started out as assistant coach 6 years ago, 2 years on middle school assistant, and then took over the head coach job for middle school, and that was your first year here. And then last year when Coach Hendricks moved out to take a job in Pleasanton, I stepped up and been learning a lot every year.
What was that transition like going from middle school to varsity?
Film has been crazy different. I spend so much more time just prepping, and there's a whole new side of football that I thought I knew, but just talking to Hoelting, he's helped me learn a ton about the game and really start to understand what we're trying to do and get our kids in good positions.
Yeah. Speaking on that defensive front, and it kind of probably came into play last week against Hesston. You don't usually face a lot of great passing offenses in high school. We got one coming up against Cheney in a couple of weeks. Hesston was one we were worried about. How would our secondary and our corners respond to we thought, their quarterback was out, so maybe it was a little bit off. But as a D coordinator, how do you put together a scout team to resemble that in practice, so the first team D can go, can get prepared?
My arm is sore.
Is it a lot of coaches on staff saying, all right, I'm going to run quarterback, because all our athletes are on first team D?
Yeah, so Coach Hoelting stepped up, and he's been picking us apart every Tuesday and Wednesdays. We're going through it, and it's helped us understand where our weak spots are, and I think our kids are really responding to it. And then just as many reps as we can get, it's completely different than what we've done scout team when we go against our team.
I think reps, anytime you can do as many reps as possible. We split field last week. We did yesterday. Today we didn't as much. We wanted to go whole field, but we were throwing 2 balls at once. I think the more they can see route combinations, the better. And we try to distill, when we sit down, what are their route combinations they really like? What are their go-to? What are the ones that really scare us? And hit them over and over and over, so kids get a sense. And we heard our kids. I felt pretty good last week. I feel pretty good this week right now, recognizing certain formations. Like, hey, watch this. Watch the wheel right out of this. Watch this, because, and that comes with film study too. I think the more they can recognize that, they can make play with their mind before they have to with their feet and their hands. And I thought our kids did a good job of that last week. Dalton Weber had a huge game. I thought Johnny Jair played really well. Carson obviously stepped back to safety, played really well. But those guys, they were in position. And that's the first step. And then I thought technique, they did a really good job of punching the ball out, grabbing elbows we talked about, because you're not going to high point with those 6'5" receivers.
Right.
When we're 5'7".
Right.
So I thought they did a really good job of battling, getting their arm in between. Bill had a picture last week. It was awesome of Dalton Weber. The Schilling kid had a catch, was trying to bring it in, and Dalton's arms right between His
Was that in
chest
the
and
end zone?
ball.
Was
Yeah.
that the end zone
Yeah,
play?
the end zone
We were
one,
up in the
and he
booth
ripped
and we were like,
through.
how did he not come down with that ball?
Yeah.
Because he was a foot over Dalton.
Right. When he tried, Dalton's arm was in when he tried to pull it in, and he just ripped.
Yeah.
And that's what we told him to do, because we're like, you're not going to high point and knock the ball away. You've got to get an elbow, grab a hand, yank it away, and make the catch a lot tougher, because you're not going to compete with 6'5".
Right.
So I thought our kids did a really good job. Coach Brown, Coach Eisenhower, they repped that a lot. And I was really proud of how they responded, especially because I don't care who we face all year. We're not going to face a harder group of receivers to cover than those guys, because they're fast, they're tall, they go up and get the ball. So I thought our kids did well.
How soon into that evening did you guys find out that their starting quarterback was going to be out?
Game time.
Game time? Yeah, we got there in the booth, and all of a sudden the announcer was saying, hey, scratch your depth chart there. He's out. I thought, so how do you adjust to that, or do you at all? You just say, you know what, we're going to go with what we've been practicing? And
I don't think their plan changed a bunch. The Proctor kid that started for him had started for him in the past. He'd started for him in the past, and I think – now, I will say that the Feralis kid can really throw the ball. He's really accurate once he got his feet set.
Yeah.
But I don't know if Proctor wasn't a better matchup for us, because he's a lot more mobile, and he could move a little bit and make plays and run around. And I thought that probably served them well, because we collapsed the pocket quite a bit. And that was one thing in tape the Feralis kid hadn't been real comfortable with, is collapsed pockets, because when he stood back there, he was really accurate. But when the pocket got collapsed against Hillsborough, he threw a couple interceptions. And so that's what we were trying to do, and I thought we did a good job of that. But the Proctor kid, he was pretty mobile and ran around a little bit, which was good for us, good test for us, especially with, Larned's quarterback coming up this week, and obviously with the Voth kid from Cheney, who's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's good for us to see.
Yeah, speaking on that offensive side of things there, it looked like we were just shy of 300 yards last week, 299 is what I saw. But 92 of those through the air, 2 touchdowns. Was it 2 touchdowns or one? Either way, one touchdown through the air. It was fun to see the air attack, which we haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
From the Pratt offense, kind of come out and come alive, and they looked really well throwing the ball. Carson threw the ball well.
Yeah, Carson was 4-5, Max was 2-2.
Yeah.
Carson keeps trying to tell me this week he was 5 for 5 because no ball hit the ground. But I said, no, interceptions don't count, Carson. But no, and even that throw, Carson had the right thought process. We just didn't read the progression correctly. He had the wheel was open about 15 yards, and even if he didn't throw to the wheel that was open, if we could have just cleared it a little more. He just got a little impatient, and didn't wait for the route to clear across formation. But I thought he threw the ball exceptionally well. He made a great throw at the end of the half. Really incredible throw. People don't realize, like the one where he was rolling left hard and came back across his body to Grant Uni. That is a really hard throw.
Yeah, I think in the booth, I was like, that looks like a Mahomes throw right there. He's been watching Mahomes, the roll left, throw across the body, and he executed it great.
Really hard throw. And then I thought Max did a good job on those colds, someone coming in his face, which we know is going to happen on that play action, because they're going to bite up to just dump it over. And we always tell them, get the easy yards, let your running backs do the work. He dumped it to Trevor, he dumped it to Carson once. And they were able to go do work. And I think we even had another couple of big passing plays called back.
Yeah.
For really nothing on the passing play.
Yeah.
The lineman walked downfield a little extra. Yeah. So I think we know we can do that. We're comfortable with it. I thought probably I could have called a few more the other night, but I thought we were in control, especially the second half. First half they did some things that made it tough on us. And then second half, I thought we really warmed down with our physicality, and we were chunking them pretty good. And then obviously we pulled off a little early.
Yeah.
We was running clock in the third quarter. We started subbing down, which always hurts your yardage total overall, which is okay. It's great. Our younger kids got experience. We want to keep our older kids healthy. So I thought that was a good thing. But yeah, I was proud of our passing attack, rushing. I was proud that, even though we talked about we had some difficulties, we still only punted once the whole game.
Yeah.
So you got to be pretty happy about that.
Yeah, it looked like it was that attempted fake punt again.
Yeah, that was not that one. That one was not. I was not yelling go from the sideline there. I was yelling no. No. Yeah. That was the snap was a little high, and Luis thought he saw someone coming, and unfortunately those things happen. But we corrected that, and then, like I said, it was more methodical in the first half, but we were still able to grind out some big drives.
Yeah.
And that's important. It's not always going to be pretty. It's not always going to be 50-yard runs.
Yeah.
You have to get those tough yards, and I was proud of our kids for doing that.
Yeah, as that game came to a close there in the late third, beginning of fourth quarter, we had that 36-0 lead. And as a defensive coordinator, when I played football back in my day, a shutout was something you'd hang your hat on, and you got a spaghetti dinner with the D coordinator's house. And, and a lot of times it was in that same scenario. The varsity would get pulled out, some of your younger kids, but the varsity's over there on the sideline going, do not give up our shutout.
Oh, yeah.
See,
How does that play out? Was there a lot of that grumbling from the varsity?
Oh, yeah.
And
from Coach Brown.
I was going to say, and the coach, for sure.
They're
But
like, oh, man, shut up. I was like, yeah, we'll be okay. We got to get some of these kids in and injury. Yeah, it's always tough.
I know, and it's meaningless.
I was trying to save our kids because I've heard about his cooking, so I don't want to subject them.
Keep them healthy.
Spaghetti, right. Didn't want any food poisoning or something like that.
Now, speaking old traditions or things like that, do you guys have any, we used to have a stick of the week, for the biggest hit of the week.
We got the hit stick.
Or,
we brought it back.
I noticed, you kids don't have any stickers on the helmet. We used to do the stickers or we
don't do the stickers. We do a few different things. One, I've got 3 different jerseys, special practice jerseys that we give out each week. They're, one of them's camo, one of them has some lightning bolts, one of them
flag.
Has like a green and gold American flag.
No big Miami takeaway chain or anything like that?
Nothing like that. We have 3. One of them goes to our practice player of the week. One of them goes to our special teams player of the week, and then one of them goes to the game MVP of the week. So we give those 3 out every week, and then we do a stick of the week, a hit stick.
Okay.
We make the hit stick, and it's actually really awesome now. Mr. Rector engraves it, does the laser printing on it, and it has their name. It says the date, who they played. Has the stuff, says Greenback hit stick of the week. It's pretty cool.
That's cool. That's cool.
And so we give out that's the big one. We give out one of those a game. We told them it's the best hit of the game. So yeah. Trevor,
who I was going to say, who've been the recipients of that?
Carson Hamey, if you remember his hit on week 1 on Legend Robinson, where he shook Legend up and he laid on the field for a while.
Yeah.
They'd get him up. Carson won it for that one. Then week 2, Liam Primrose won it because he absolutely cleaned a kid's clock on a pole.
Okay.
Pole. Flat back the kid, and then Trevor Steinmates. I mean, he really hammered a kid on kickoff the other night.
Yeah.
So he won it against Hesston. So.
Nice. That's always fun to be watching. Do you hand that out at film time, or when do you hand that out and make the present during film?
Yep, during film.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. All right. Well, moving on to Larned this week. I'm gonna have to try to not call him Larned. It's just old habit. So 80th matchup between Pratt and Larned. We've played every year except 2 since 1941. It's got to be
most versus any school.
It's got to be. I haven't double checked it or had Kelly, my stat guy, double check it, but it's got to be. That long. And Pratt's predominantly been on the plus side of that. It started off in the early years of that pretty even, but Pratt's pulled away. But still a big matchup. They're 2-1, we're 3-0. Any big time rivalry like that, sometimes you throw the records and the stats out the window. What are we looking at going into Larned?
Offensively or defensively, they're fast. They blitz a lot. They're going to run a variety of different fronts, so we're going to see a lot of different stuff. And I say that's what they've done the first 2 games. Obviously, with our offense, we really never know.
Yeah,
and that's why I told our kids we kind of started out slow and we figured it out the other night. That's what's kind of even me, we've got to adjust to, hey, what are they giving us? We can come in and say we want to run this, but with this offense, it's kind of wherever they load, what are they giving us as an answer? And so we got to figure that out. Sometimes it takes a little bit. So we'll see what they do there. But they've got some athletes. Their 2 inside linebackers are pretty good. They flow hard. And then offensively, Coach Brown talked about that a little bit more, but they're a big play waiting to happen. They've got speed. They can break big plays. They have tons of trick plays. They love trick plays.
That's what I was watching some of that huddle footage from their last game, and it was a double reverse flea flicker. And it's like, what is this? Who's running this in week 3?
Oh yeah.
So is that something?
Tackle throwback screen.
Yeah. A lot of bubble screens. So that big play, how do you simulate that, or how do you keep your guys at home to make sure that big play is not given up?
Yeah, so we every day in practice we throw in 2 to 3 trick plays, whether it's something we've seen, something that they might do, and then we just make sure that our kids are adjusted and know their rules. That's been our big thing this year, has been, making sure we're aligned right and then know our responsibilities. And our kids have really bought into it, the simplicity of it.
And we always tell our kids, something like action away, slow play. If action goes away from you, it's not gonna be your play anyway. If it goes to that sideline, so then what you got to do until you take a pursuit angle down the field in case they break it or something, is you got to check anyone coming back at you. Make sure before you make a decision to go trail that, because let's be honest, that's the last option we want, is the play to get that far. You trust your teammates to do your job, make sure nothing's coming back at you. And I think that's how Carson got that interception with that couple weeks ago against Mission Valley that he returned for the touchdown is you got to make sure, even if the action looks like it's going away from you, you got to slow play, see if there's anyone leaking out, coming back at you. So we cross-check a lot. We'll talk about if the action goes away, we'll cross-check, see if any back or slot is coming back the other way, and try to stay home.
Just in open field I don't know how many times this year I've called J.R. Johnson's name for open field tackles. Like I'm like, oh my God, like because a lot of times he's out there on an island and the play will come around and it's either him or 15 more yards and he's made the play every time.
He's done a great job. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, he's been great. He's been really working at it this summer too, and just his athleticism and his football smarts have gone up through the roof this year.
And we always tell you, like, it doesn't have to look pretty.
No.
I don't care if you're an ankle biter. When you're out there all alone, you just do whatever gets the job done.
Yeah.
And he did a good job with that. Now we've been teasing him this week about making 2 great juke moves and then, getting caught from behind at the 1 yard line. He's pretty mad about that. He was pretty salty getting caught. He wanted to get in there in the end zone, and hopefully we get him in there this week.
Yeah.
He's done a great job.
Yes. Oh, good. Trying to think anything else Larned related. I don't have a whole lot. I don't want to get into Cheney week 5, so we won't even talk about that. Like you said, 1-0. But this week does set the stage for what could be a big matchup between 2 4-0 teams going into week 5. But yeah, like you said, 1-0 every week. That's probably going to wrap up the Larned talk, and we're going to move on to your favorite segment of the night, which is how well do you know your greenback?
Oh boy!
Now there's been a little bit of buzz about this one this week, and I'm not going to lie. This one was put up to me by your wife, so
that terrifies me.
Well, it kind of excited me, She said, "Hey, you got to do something with this." So this week's how well do you know your greenbacks? A little different intro with a little bit of background, and then we're going to shoot the question at you.
Okay.
Are you ready for this?
I don't know.
Here we go.
If my wife just decided it, I'm not ready, probably, but
well, we're going to find out. Here we go. It's time for How Well Do You Know Your Greenbacks? But first, a recap.
Our daughter Cameron is an 8th grader, and I've got 2 boys. Grader. I screwed that up. Is in his last year of kindergarten.
Our son Cannon is a kindergartner, and then we've got son Lincoln who's in preschool.
I did amend the Lincoln.
Okay, so this week's trivia question for Coach Hoelting is, what are the grades of your children?
I knew she was going to do that. She right after she watched that Sports in Kansas interview, she's like, "Hey, do you realize that you said Cannon was in kindergarten?" So I felt awful.
Oh, she called. We were on our way back from Hayes, and Carrie's like, "What's Andrea calling me for?" And she said, "Is Cody with you?" Yeah. She said, "Oh, he's got to do something with this."
Yeah. So I
did.
Sure. Cameron is in 8th grade. Cannon is in 1st grade, and Lincoln is in preschool.
There we go. We got it. All right. 2 for 2 on how well do you know your
greenbacks. I could
greenbacks?
blame pregnancy brain or something. I just look like I'm pregnant. But.
Yeah. Well, I was going to get you a little, cheat sheet and a card with their pictures, but I didn't have time.
I appreciate that.
I was too busy getting other cards.
Yeah. I was going to say Cody was getting a card because he had to pay my son off because he bet my son that he would beat me in cornhole. And
Did you see the card?
I did see the card.
I feel like everybody has by now.
I'm sure the entire staff has.
Yeah. I mean, that was the thing that led the first staff meeting.
Well, I had Hunter Teasley started work for me last night, and I just got to chatting with him. I said, "Hey, how's football going?" And yada yada yada. And he says, "Yeah, I've heard Coach Hoelting talk about you guys' cornhole games." I said, "God, what? Do you just tell everybody about this?"
Well, yes,
I'm thinking,
100%.
"Hey, I'm this kid's employer. I'm trying to come off as the authority figure, and all he's hearing at school is these late night cornhole matches between us."
You've got to score more than 6 points.
I'd like to say you're lying, but you're not.
But we were the Pratt County champions.
That's right. That's right. All right, we're going to wrap this up before it gets too far into the after midnight stories. So, Coach AJ Brown, Coach Hoelting, thanks for joining me. Good luck this week, Friday night at Zerger. Austin, the voice of the Greenbacks, will be gone this week. So, if you're tuning in at 12:09, it'll be myself and Kelly Simon. So, blast from the past. So, buckle up. It could be a bumpy ride, but all right. Thanks, guys. Always appreciate it.